Perfect fit closets. How to use outside corner modules. Today we're going to talk about our left outside corner module as well as our right outside corner module. I've got my 2020 open and I'm going to open up my catalog. I've got the Perfect Fit Canadian catalog. Underneath my categories, I'm going to double click our module section. In our module sections below stackable, wall, tall, and tall corner module, below I have left outside corner module and right outside corner module. So how do we use those? I've got two elevations here on my split screen. I've got the elevation on the top as well as the top view below. On my elevation one, I'm just going to simply grab a tall outside corner module. And any modules will work for the outside corner modules. I'm just going to go ahead, select one opening, and I'll just make this one 30 inches wide. And we'll have it all fully drilled on the left as well as the right for the time being. So I've got line boring holes on the inside and outside of my tall corner module. So I'm just going to drop this on my placement zone. We'll go 0 inches to the right. And I'll label it here for our training video that this is the tall module. This tall module is at a default height of 83 15/16. And that's what we'll use right now. In our categories, in our module sections, I'm going to select the left outside corner module, and there's also a right outside corner module. If I select the left outside corner module, we want to talk about items that's going to be on the left-hand component of our module section here. I'm going to drag and drop my left outside corner module, and I'm going to drag it into my elevation section here. And once it attaches itself to the existing module, I'm going to left click and drop it. And now I've got a 13¼ inch panel, also located right here on my top view. We can definitely take a look at our properties. We can right click the actual module itself. We're going to go into our SL mod and left click our attributes. I'm going to right click on the illustration so I can see it a bit better. And we can see that we have a outside corner module. I've got line boring holes on one side and a clean face on the other. We can definitely see that everything has been grayed out in the general tab. I'm going to left click on our variables tab just so that we can see it a bit better. We know that the height is 83 15/16. If the current tall module was higher or lower, the attached section of our outside corner module will also shrink. We can see the part width is 13¼ inches. This is not grayed out. If we want, we could increase the width to whatever our liking is. Select on OK. And as you can see, that doesn't change. So please note that should be grayed out, but it does not change. Outside corner modules will always be kept at 13¼ or depending on the depth of the system. So let's do a quick check and let's increase the depth of our tall module. This current tall module is 14 inches deep. We're going to left click on our variables and we're going to increase the depth to 19 inches. We're going to click on OK. And we can see that now the actual depth and width has currently changed as well. This is now at 19 inches. And we know that this section right here is 18¼ inches. Let's go back into our properties underneath our SL mod. We'll click on our attributes. So regardless, to show everybody, regardless of this width change will change depending on the current width and depth of the existing module in place. So we do not have control over this panel. The panel has to be exactly the same width as the depth of the existing module. We can see from this point it's 18¼ inches, and these two have to be coinciding with one another. The reason why this is 18¼ not 19 is because this one here is not mitered, it's a 90-degree corner. Therefore, we subtract the 3/4 to make them exactly even. If we actually take our actual line-to-line measurement here, we can see that this is 18 1/4 here. So they're exactly symmetrical. So again, we cannot change the outside corner module parameters. It'll be depending on the depth of the tall module that's beside it. Now that we have it in place, I'm just going to delete this just for the time being. Now that I've added my actual panel, I'm now going to add shelves. The only shelves that are allowable are fixed shelves here. I'm going to double click on our categories, double click on our part section, and double click shelves. In shelves, we have our shelf fixed, shelf adjustable, slanted, bridge, but down below, we have left outside corner fixed shelf and right outside corner fixed shelf. Well, we know that we used a left outside corner, so we're now going to use a left outside corner fixed shelf. I'm going to left click and drag it into my elevation. Once I see my magnet, I can drop it anywhere in this section here. I don't necessarily have to drop it inside this section. I can drop it anywhere as long as I see my magnet. The program is smart enough and will attach itself. Now I've dropped it, and now I can start adding in my parts. You'll notice the part is not exactly angled. We have a slight bump out on each section here. To grab my actual dimensions, I'm going to click on my annotations tab on the top left, and I'm going to click on the align button. The align button will also give me dimensions from point to point. So I'm going to left click aligned, and we can see from this point to this point is 2 inches. The same thing will happen symmetrically on the other side. We'll left click our align button, and we're going to grab it from this point to this point. And it's also 2. The measure from this point to this point, grab another align button, and we're going to left click this point here and this point. And now we have 23 inches. We can also go the other way just so that we can see it a bit better. Aligned, and it'll be from this point to this point. And we have 23-inch wide shelf. So we have one shelf here, and we can certainly start adding it in there. I see my magnet, let go of my mouse, and just start populating it like so. I could always grab the item and start moving it up and down, and so forth. All right, so now that we have added some shelves, let's take a look at some of our properties as well as their perspective view. I can start filling this in, and again, these can only be used with fixed shelves. We can see I have line boring holes on each section here, and we're going to use the cam systems to actually enter 4 cams, 1 on each hole. We can take a look at our properties on our outside corner shelf fixed, go into our attributes, and we can see the part in question, and we'd also take a look at any parameters as well as variances and so forth. There's nothing really else that you need to do, otherwise it's a drag and drop feature. I can't use the right outside corner fixed, and it will not allow me to enter it in. If I try using the right outside corner fixed shelf, we can see that it is an obscure angle and it won't let me. We can click on escape to get out. And again, just use the left outside corner fixed shelf. Now for toe kicks, if we want to add a toe kick, we can go to our parts and add a toe kick. But if we add a toe kick, watch what happens when I try to drag a toe kick in this section here. We want a 3 3/4 inch toe kick. We'll click on OK. And we'll see that it doesn't really allow me to enter the toe kick anywhere. Toe kicks aren't really meant for this section here. So what I can do is I can actually just grab a standalone toe kick if somebody wanted to do that, and the installer will actually have to miter this toe kick. I can grab my align section here from this point to this point, it's 25 13/16. Well, they're going to have to do a little bit of cutting, so I'll probably grab a 30-inch toe kick. If I want a 30-inch toe kick standalone, I can just grab a standalone toe kick and just drop it off screen here. I do want this 3 3/4, and we're just going to go off screen here, and we're just going to grab a toe kick that's going to be about 30 inches wide. Now I've got a toe kick part, and my installer will actually go into the site, make everything, and add a manual toe kick. There will be some cutting involved because, as you know, the actual toe kick isn't exactly angled. It's got a 2-inch bump out here and a 2-inch bump out here. So they'll actually have to see what they can do in terms of trying to add a toe kick. They'll most likely have to miter the corners and so forth and do a little bit of cutting on site. To make it easier for the installers, you can actually leave it floating or drop it all the way down to the floor. So those are kind of some options that your installers can do, and as a designer. So we always want to try to make it easier for the designer as well as the installer. So talk to your design team and installation team, work together and see what you want to do to kind of create a outside corner module for your client with a toe kick. Otherwise, nothing else you need to do. It's all drag and drops. Now, if we wanted to do this reverse and we want to make a right corner module, let's go into our categories, modules, and we're going to use elevation 2, and we're going to drag a tall module in place. Once I see my magnet, go to my farthest working left and let go of my mouse. A new dialog box will appear. Right click on the illustration, and I'm going to make this one 30 inches wide. We're going to click on OK, and we're going to just drop this in here. Now I can go into my categories, modules, and now I'm going to click on my right outside corner module. We're going to drag it into the right side of the module. And again, we're just dropping it in. Go to categories, parts. And below parts, we want shelves. And at the very bottom of shelves, we want the right outside corner shelf fixed. We're going to drop it in once we see a magnet and start populating the shelves as necessary. And again, this one is only going to be 13 1/4 because this module is only 14 inches deep. If you have any questions, please connect with us at support@perfectfitcanada.com.